Jane Pauley is one of America's most respected broadcast journalists. Her trailblazing career in morning, daytime, and primetime television spans more than 40 years, and her intelligence, integrity, and honesty have inspired generations. Today, Ms. Pauley is also recognized as a powerful advocate for mental health awareness, using her personal story to encourage and motivate others.
I think Jane was one of the early pioneers in television news. We take it for granted today. We see women in so many roles, but when Jane was breaking in, she was one of the first.
The most thing that she gives to young women is integrity. She's a thoroughbred. She just absolutely does everything right.
Margaret Jane Pauley was born in Indianapolis in 1950, the younger of two daughters. Her mother, Mary Pauley, was a church organist, while her father, Richard, was in the food distribution business. As a high school student, Jane competed on the speech and debate teams. After high school, Jane went on to study political science at Indiana University, graduating in 1972.
One-stop shopping can save you time.
She then worked as a reporter in Indianapolis before moving to Chicago in 1974.
I was the first woman to anchor an evening newscast in Chicago, which at the time was the second largest market in the country.
News Center 5 weeknights at 5 and 10.
I was 24 years old, and I knew I was ridiculously young and inexperienced.
Within a year, Jane Pauley was selected to replace Barbara Walters on NBC's Today Show with Tom Brokaw. She began as a correspondent, but quickly became co-host.
People today may not realize how big a deal it was when Jane Pauley took the place of Barbara Walters. First, there weren't that many women on television to begin with, and she brought that sort of Midwestern wholesomeness that is a part of her personality to the show. And I think it changed morning television.
Ms. Pauley co-hosted the Today Show for over 13 years, first with Tom Brokaw and later with Bryant Gumbel. During this time, she traveled the world, interviewing thousands of newsmakers.
I think Jane changed morning television in the sense that it became more relatable. You didn't have to pretend about things, you could be sincere. And in morning TV, where it's live, you sort of have to be who you are.
I traveled to every hemisphere of the globe, thanks to the Today Show. I met the Pope, the Great Wall of China. We're at the Colosseum in Rome, the wedding of Princess Diana.
The other thing I think she brought was a true sense of wonder. It was still kind of exciting. Here I am in London, here I am in Africa. At the same time, she was grounded, she was smart. You never felt like she was in over her head. She brought a real sense of depth to everything she did.
In 1980, Jane married Gary Trudeau, and they had 3 children over the next 3 years, including twins.
We have a house in the Thimble Islands where I was married and where my children spent the years of their childhood.
During that period, she also became the anchor of the Sunday edition of NBC Nightly News. Then, in 1989, Jane was very publicly replaced on the Today Show by the younger Deborah Norville.
My leaving the Today program, we don't need to go into it except that it was the first media frenzy I had ever seen as a journalist, and I was in it.
What people may not remember about that whole thing, yes, it made headlines when Jane left the Today Show, and yes, many people thought it was wrong that she was being pushed out. But it led to a whole new career for Jane. And the fact that she went on to be a co-host of Dateline, one of the most successful primetime shows in television history, was a whole new chapter for her, and she did that brilliantly.
Jane Pauley would co-host NBC's Dateline with Stone Phillips for the next 11 years, interviewing hundreds of people and covering many major stories.
The story is never about Jane. If you watch her through her whole career, the Today Show, Dateline, CBS Sunday Morning.
I might feel guilty, too. You don't feel guilty?
There is never the slightest idea that she's more important or even as important as the story or the principles in the story.
Jane's life took an unexpected turn in the year 2000 when she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder at the age of 50.
One can only appreciate how well she's gotten past it by how deep the original fall was. And for Gary, too. It was very hard on the family.
So that the day I was diagnosed, I knew that one day I would talk about it.
Jane has been very public about her journey, writing openly about her experiences in her 2004 autobiography, Skywriting, A Life Out of the Blue.
People have no idea how valuable it is when a celebrity shares a disability that millions share who don't have the celebrity to broadcast it. And if she can talk about it so clearly, so honestly, so effectively, to watch her do that was just a, part of the many admirable things I've watched her do over the years.
In 2004, Jane returned to NBC with The Jane Pauley Show, a daytime talk show that lasted one season. At the age of 54, she began to worry her television career was over.
It took me a few years to figure out what I would do next. I try this, I try that, I had meetings, and then I would, for one reason or another, would back off, it wouldn't work. And I had this idea about reinvention.
Ms. Pauley soon began developing a new project focused on reinventing life after 50. Your Life Calling ran as a series on the Today Show for 4 years.
The importance here is that Your Life Calling was the first thing I ever really invented. It was entrepreneurial Jane. I created it.
The series resulted in Pauley writing her second New York Times bestseller. Today, Jane's health and wellness advocacy efforts include her work with the Jane Pauley Community Health Centers in Indiana, the McGovern Institute at MIT, and her many talks to healthcare providers and the public.
I think that the advocacy I've been able to do has been an aspect of my wellness. I wouldn't trade that diagnosis. I wouldn't trade it back. It has given some purpose to my life that I might not have felt otherwise. Purpose, that's pretty powerful.
Ms. Pauley has been recognized with many prestigious awards, including the Walter Cronkite Award for Excellence in Journalism, the Edward R. Murrow Award, and the Gracie Allen Award. Today, she can be seen regularly on CBS Sunday Morning.
I think Jane is one of the most respected people in television. I think because she is so true to who she is. Jane never puts on airs. The Jane you see on television is Jane Pauley.
Jane is the kind of person people will talk about 30, 50 years from now. And they'll remember her not because she was pretty, which she was, and not because her voice was clear, which it was, and not because she worked on important stories, which she did. They'll remember the character of the person.